Welcome everyone! In this video, we are going to be diving in and breaking down these two new events that are coming very soon here that are going to be introducing the new Paldean starters into Pokemon Go. So it's going to be a two-part event, okay? So this first one, we're going to be getting the brand new Gen 9 Paldean starters, along with a brand new normal type, Lechonk, which evolves into Oinka Loon. So this is the first part of the event. It's going to be dropping this coming Tuesday, September 5th at 10 a.m. and it's going to run until Sunday, September 10th at 10 a.m. So this is the first part. We're going to get the starters along with a brand new normal type into Pokemon Go. And we're going to be breaking each of these down. But while we are here, there are some that will not make it into the breakdown because they may be worth pursuing. Obviously, for the Dex entry, for you, those of you who want to fill out those Dex entries, of course, we want to grab all of them. But as far as functionality goes for Pokemon Go Battle League, the grass starter line, unfortunately, not looking too good. The stats just are not there. So quickly here, while we're here, we're just going to highlight these really quick. We've got Meowscarada. In the Ultra League, it's pretty squishy, guys. 3,400 stat product, that is quite squishy. So for comparison, if we look at Charizard, which is not generally known for its bulk, it's coming in at 3,600. Now, I will make an exception for a subpar stat product as long as the Pokemon has a stellar move pool, which Charizard absolutely does. So we make that exception for it. But if we go into Meowscarada, that stat prod is not there. It's squishier than Charizard. If we look at another Pokemon, let's look at Shiftry. By comparison, same typing, it's squishier than Shiftry, guys. So the stats are not there, and the moveset is not enough to make an exception for. We've got Leafage, not the best fast move in the world. It's okay, not the best. And then we've got Night Slash for baiting potential. That's fantastic. Grass Knot, a solid grass move, but the stats combined with it having to run Leafage, it can run Charm as well, but generally you want Stab on Charm, especially with the nerf not too long ago. So definitely get it for a Dex entry, but the stats are just not there. And we can look at Great League as well. If it's not bulky for Ultra, it's definitely not going to be bulky for Great League. And again, with the moveset, I'm not willing to make that exception. And then we can look at the middle stage evolution, which you can often use. Floragato. Here we go. Okay, so this is a monograss type. Coming in at 1789, my cutoff generally is around the 1800s. I would say 1800s is my cutoff for Great League bulk. But if we see here, we're looking at a monograss type, and it's recommending a monograss type moveset. That's a no-no for me, guys. I'm sorry. Leafage, okay. It does also have Charm as well, but it's recommending a grass type. It can run Play Rough as well, but again, I'm not thrilled about Leafage. I'm not willing to make that exception. So 1800 is my cutoff. So if we look at Sableye, I will make an exception. Sableye is in the 1800s, so it's in that neighborhood, slightly less bulky than Sableye, but Sableye has the moveset. That's why we make that exception for Sableye. If we look at Charizard, yeah, even less bulky, but we make that exception for the moveset. So for this one, unfortunately, unless they buff Leafage, we'll see, but it still doesn't have a bait move. So these grass types, unfortunately, not ones that I would actively pursue for Go Battle League, but definitely for the Dex entry. So those two I wanted to highlight for this event. Everything else we're going to be breaking down in just a minute. And then we've got the second part of the event here. So this is the second part. This is the Ultra Unlock Paldea. And right on Sunday, once this first one ends here on Sunday, September 10th at 10 a.m., this next one, we're going to go right into that one. This one begins just as that one ends on Sunday, September 10th at 10 a.m., and it will run until Friday, September 15th, 8 p.m. local time. So yeah, we're going to be getting some new ones here as well. We're getting the starters and a normal type in that first one, and this one we're going to be getting a few as well that we will want to have a look at. But while we're here, just as we did with that first one, this electric type, unfortunately, Pawmot and its line, doesn't have the stats, much like Florigato. We're on PV Poke here again. Look at that stat prod, my friends. 3,300. That is very squishy. That is too squishy, and the typing, we don't know what they're doing with Spark, but we know it's not going to be as good as it once was. Very, very nice charge moves, holy smokes. We've got close combat and wild charge, but the stats, guys. We've got 2 nuke moves that are going to be debuffing us on top of having a very squishy stat product. That's a no-go for me. And we don't know what they're doing with Spark. We know it's not going to be as good as it was. So that's the Ultra League, my friends. And again, Great League is not going to be any better. 1,500 stat product. So if we look at a Pokemon like Haxorus is actually squishier than this one. But we've got Breaking Swipe and Counter, guys. Breaking Swipe mitigates that squishy stat product. Haxorus amongst the most squishy Pokemon that you could run. So if we look at Pawmot again, we're debuffing ourselves. We're not mitigating anything. We're expounding the squishiness. So unfortunately, good for a Dex entry, but not going to be quite very functional in the Open Great League. Perhaps for the Electric Cup, we'll see. So that one I'm not actively pursuing. I'll hang on to one if I happen to get a decent one, but we're going to be actively pursuing the others here in just a second. So that is the second half of the event. These events we will want to be playing, get ahead of the game. That way we're not left in the dark when these Pokemon become meta relevant. We'll have them at an early stage in the game, and that's only a good thing. So without further ado, let's dive into the breakdown on all of these new Paldean Pokemon. All right, guys, here we are kicking things off. We've got Skeledirge. Hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. Skeledirge. This Pokemon is one of the starters. It's the fire type starter, and it has a ghost subtyping, which is very nice. So this is one that we can use. It runs Incinerate, which is a bit off-putting, but I will say, guys, Talonflame also runs Incinerate, and Talonflame kind of forced us to get good at running a 5-turn fast move. So I think we can make a similar exception for this Pokemon. As we see here on the Great League, the stat product is okay, on par with Sableye in the Great League. So that running Incinerate could get a bit dicey there. So we'll see. I like the charge moves. It has stellar charge moves. Shadow Ball, you don't get much better than that, especially with Stab, and Crunch is quite nice as well. So could potentially use it as a 2-shield strat, as a closer, potentially. We'll see. But I want to look at Ultra League, where I think it will shine best. So we've got Ultra here. Very solid stat product, very similar to Swampert. So this thing has some bulk. We're gonna look at Swampert real quick. So Swampert has a 3927 stat product, and Skeledirge actually has a slightly higher stat prod. So Swampert has nice bulk. 4,000 is sort of my I would say baseline. You can go slightly lower than 4,000, obviously, but I think 4,000, that's very nice bulk, and definitely stats that can compete. My hard cutoff is kind of I would say the 3,600 range. You're starting to get a bit squishy once you get that far down. But I have made 3,500s work as well. It really depends on your strategy and team comp. So this thing has the stats to compete for sure in Ultra. It's a fire type with a ghost type subtyping. So we're going to be hitting Giratina pretty hard with our charge moves. We hardwall Cresselia, so another solid answer to Cresselia, never a bad thing in Ultra. So Skeledirge, definitely one to keep an eye out for, and definitely get as many of these as you can. It has played in the Great League. Ultra League is where it will shine best. And up next, we've got the middle stage evolution Crocolor. This might have some niche play in the Great League. At the end of the day, it's a mono fire type. And unless you have stellar stats or a stellar moveset, fire types generally struggle. So this one might be relegated to the specialty cups, again, with that 5-turn fast move. This one might be a harder sell, but definitely one to consider. It actually has the same stat product as Sableye, so it has Sableye bulk, but it does have crunch and flamethrower. So again, with a slower 5-turn fast move, perhaps a 2-shield closing strat for this one. I'm not sure about Great League, but definitely I can see this thing having some very, very solid play in the specialty cups. So we're already scouting for Skeledirge. Might as well have a closer peek at those IVs and perhaps save one for Crocolor, the middle stage. So another one to keep an eye out for, specifically for the Great League and the Specialty Cups. And up next, we've got Quackquaval. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that correctly. Let me know if I am. Quackquaval. I would not prioritize this one as highly as the fire type, but wing attack, liquidation, close combat, again, I will make an exception for a stellar moveset, guys. Particularly, I would say in the Ultra League, it's not going to be great there, but I think that's, again, where it will shine best. Coming in at a 3,500 stat prod, pretty low. Like I said, my cutoff is generally right around 36. You start getting much lower than that, you're getting pretty squishy, so this thing is on the squishier side. Squishier than Charizard, but my goodness, wing attack, close combat, liquidation. That's a stellar moveset. You're not going to be able to hit Giratina. You're going to have some trouble with Cresselia, but we know Charizard is everywhere. We're going to be taking super effective from those wing attacks, but we will be getting to these liquidations pretty fast. So this one might be a 2-shield strat closer. It looks like it hits pretty darn hard. So I think Ultra was where it will shine best. Great League, I'm not sold on. So I've got asterisk next to both of those, if you can see there. But definitely still worth pursuing. I would not prioritize building it over Skeledirge, so definitely grab some of these. Great League, it's very squishy. This might be a specialty cup mon at best in the Great League format, but with the moveset, again, it's got wing attack, water gun. Wing attack is what you'll want to go with. Close combat, liquidation. We'll see how Aerial Ace, what they do with that, but for now, liquidation, close combat is the way to go in both leagues. So Great League, definitely specialty cup as at best. Ultra League, it can do some things on the right team. So this one I would definitely scout for, hold on to a few good IVs, and we'll see with this one when it does come out. But definitely one to consider. All right, moving right along to Quackswell, the middle stage evolution for Quackquaval for that line. This one is very interesting. It's a mono water type, middle stage. Quite a bit bulkier than the final stage in the Great League. This is where it will shine best. Obviously, it will not have the stats for Ultra. So Great League is where its home will be. It uses wing attack, liquidation, and Aerial Ace. So Aerial Ace is getting a buff. We'll see what they do with the energy on that. Any improvement on the Aerial Ace, to be honest, will be fantastic and very much welcome. We'll just see what type of energy it is, but it's still going to be improved. So a move that we will want to use. Solid bait move. It does not have stab. Yes, it is a bird. It looks like a bird, but it does not have the flying typing. It is a mono water type, so those wing attacks and Aerial Aces will not have stab, but has stellar energy generation on wing attack and the baiting potential with Aerial Ace, quite nice. Those liquidations will be hitting quite hard and will have stab. Suboptimal bulk, but again, as I said, I would say 1800 is about my cutoff. It's right on, it's almost there. And this moveset, I think, will make up for the suboptimal bulk. 1800 is pretty, I'm not going to say squishy, but slightly below average. I generally look for a 2000 stat product or higher for Great League, maybe 1900 to 2000. 1900, 2000, we're cooking there. We've got solid bulk. So below 1900, 1800, if it has a stellar stat product, I will make an exception. As I mentioned, like something with Sableye. So this does have a stellar moveset. So I will make an exception, and I would consider scouting out a few of these middle stage evolutions for the Great League. In rounding out this first part of this two-part event, we've got Oinka Loon. This one, along with the Fire-type starter, are the two that I am most excited for and the ones you will absolutely 100% want to prioritize the most. And particularly the female version. So it's sort of a Nidoqueen, Nidoking dynamic where you'll want to pursue the female over the male version of the line, because the female is going to have the bulk to compete in both the Great and Ultra League. The male is not that bad. It's not the worst, but the female is just ideal. That's the one you'll want to go with. So catch as many of these females that you can, because those are the ones that are going to be putting in the most work in both the Great League and the Ultra League stat product. Fantastic for both leagues. We get a 2000 stat prod in the Great League. Like I said, that's right there. We're cooking with that stat product. We're looking good. We've got very solid bulk. Tackle, it's running tackle. That's a solid fast move. It'll be applying some pretty intense fast move pressure with stab. It's a lick clone. So if you're familiar with lick, that's it. It's going to be having the same pacing as lick, but dealing normal type damage. And we've got an excellent moveset. We know Dig is getting a buff today, in fact, at the time of recording this video. So we just have a few hours to see what the new numbers will be on the new moves. I suspect Dig will likely be either a drill run clone or a sludge bomb clone. So solid move. Doesn't have stab, but it'll be hitting pretty nicely on those steels, fires, and rock types. And we've got body slam. So if you're familiar with licky tongue pacing or Snorlax pacing to those body slams, that's going to be what we've got, that type of pacing to the body slam. So very strong Pokemon, very solid stat product in the Great League. Ultra League, again, we'll have a home in the Ultra League as well. Slightly less bulky than Snorlax, but it's right there. We're well above 4,000, so I would say 4,000 is a very, very solid stat product for the Ultra League, and we're well above that. So we're looking really good in both Ultra and Great League with Oinka Loon, specifically the female version. Again, I mean, if you get a few males, you don't get too lucky on the females. The male is right there at 4,000 as well, but ideally you're going to want the female 100% for Go Battle League. So that rounds out the first batch of these new Paldean Pokemon. Let's now move into the second batch. We'll be dropping September 10th, on Sunday, September 10th. Let's have a look. All right, moving into the second part of this event, which will be starting immediately after this first one ends on Sunday, September 10th. We are kicking it off with Bombardier. This one, very interesting. Same typing as Mandibuzz, flying dark type. It's going to shine best in Ultra League. That is where it will shine best. It does have some play in the Great League. But as with Mandibuzz, not nearly as bulky, if you can imagine, but it has a way better moveset. So they've got Fly on here. I've never seen that move in the game. I did not see it announced, so we're going to go to Aerial Ace, which we do know, which is in the game. Unless there are going to be some a surprise with this one where they will be introducing a new move. We don't know that. So let's go with what we know. We know Aerial Ace is in the game and is getting buffed. And it will have stab on this thing, and it does run wing attack as well. So not the best stat prod, but again, as I keep saying in this video, I will make an exception for a solid moveset, and that is what it has. It has wing attack, generating that energy beautifully. Aerial Ace will be improved with this season, so that is a move that we can look forward to using. And we've got a nice nuke move with Stab coming in the form of Payback. So excellent coverage with this moveset. Yet another answer to Giratina in this league. You're not going to want to be tanking those moves as you do with Mandibuzz. So with if you run into a Cresselia, you're not going to want to be eating those Moonblast left, right, and center. You're going to want to be throwing up some shields for those on this particular Pokemon. But it has the typing and the moveset to really put in work in the Ultra League. We can take a quick peek at the Great League. Okay, so it's below 1,800, but again, I'm making that exception, so definitely be on the lookout for these. Get a good one for Ultra, first and foremost, and a good one for Great League if you can. So this is one to keep an eye out for, 100%. Definitely going to be putting work in both the Great League, but to a much higher extent in the Ultra League. Keep an eye out for this one. Definitely grab a few. All right, up next, we've got Excalibur. Holy smokes, this thing is looking to be insanely strong. We've got it here in the Master League. This is where it's going to shine best, but it does have play in Ultra a little bit. But mostly in Master. Oh my goodness, guys. This thing is going to be a monster in Master. It's not a legendary either, so going to be a lot more accessible than most legendaries that we see, or going to be a lot more accessible than all legendaries, which is a good thing because the stat product is insanely good on this thing. This thing is bulkier than Kyogre. If this is correct, at 9,244, it's bulkier than Kyogre. It's bulkier than Groudon. It's bulkier than Dialga. It's bulkier than Giratina. This thing, not as bulky as Lugia or Zygarde, but it's pretty darn close. And the moveset is even more amazing, guys. This thing runs Dragon Breath, Avalanche, one of the best moves in the game, period. And that has Stab on it, and it has Dragon Claw to bait. Holy smokes. This thing, because it's not a legendary, it can also be run in Premier formats as well. We don't have a Premier Cup scheduled for this season, but it is a cup that has historically been around for as long as just about any league. So this one for Master and Master Premier, 1,000%. Try your very best to get good IVs for those two leagues. And we'll take a quick look at Ultra, which is more realistic given the time frame as far as getting good enough IVs. As we can see, quite squishy, pretty squishy in Ultra. Not going to have nearly as much play as we have in Master or Master Premier, but it is a dragon with ice coverage as well that has Stab, same moveset. You're going to want to be going Dragon Breath on that moveset. Avalanche is the way to go, as well as with Dragon Claw. That is the ideal moveset. It does have Blizzard and Outrage, but those are not going to be ideal to use. They're too expensive, especially with Dragon Breath. But yeah, it's on the squishier side. We'll see. But that typing and those moves, I might make an exception. It's well below 4,000, which is what I generally look out for a decent stat product. In fact, it's below my cutoff of 3,600. But for probably the last time in this video, I will make an exception for a stellar moveset. So we'll see how it starts to feel. We're not able to debuff anything to mitigate that, so we'll see. But definitely worth pursuing. That typing is fantastic. Same typing as Kyurem. So yeah, we'll see about Ultra, but 100%, 1,000% for Master and Master Premier on Excalibur. And up next, while we're on the subject, we've got Arctibax. The middle stage dragon from Paldea. Same typing, guys, same moveset, but this one I think will have some solid play in Great League. Perhaps mostly for specialty cups as dragons and ice types. Unless you're an ice type with a water typing, maybe dragon will mitigate that a little bit. But we'll see. Dragons historically don't perform the best in Great League on most team comps. Altaria historically has been the best dragon ever to run in Great League. And we will not be seeing very much Altaria this season with the nerf. So perhaps this one can step up a little bit. Obviously, nowhere near as bulky as Altaria, slightly less bulky than Sableye, but it's at that 1800 mark. And like I said, with a stellar moveset, I will make an exception. I said it again. That's probably the last time I'll say it. Who knows? We'll see. But Dragon Breath, Avalanche, Dragon Claw, you don't get much better than that. It all has stab, so this thing will be quite solid. It's not going to be fun if you're met with a Basti or a Carbink, but that's why we exercise solid team building, my friends. So we'll see. We've got Medi. We'll see. But my goodness, that move set. I mean, we're already going to be scouting Excalibur. Definitely keep an eye out for some decent IVs for a potential Arctibax in the Great League. And rounding out this breakdown, we've got Low Kicks, the new Bug Dark type, gonna shine best in Ultra. Doesn't have the best fast move, not gonna lie. It runs Sucker Punch, that's what's recommended, and I would agree with that, as you will still be able to hit both Giratina and Cresselia for super effective. That is not the best fast move. It can also run Bug Bite, but then you lose that fast move pressure on Giratina. With Sucker Punch, you'll still be able to hit both of those. You're still not going to be able to hit fairies no matter what, so Sucker Punch, as much as it pains me, that's probably the way to go. The stat product is not blowing me away either, so this one, I could take it or leave it, but I did throw it in because the dark typing is very, very valuable in the Ultra League, as we can all imagine. Bug types aren't too bad either. One of the only reasons why I put it on is because a lot of us run Galvantula. Let's punch in Galvantula real quick. And as we can see, Low Kicks is bulkier than Galv. Now, Galv can mitigate that squishiness with the debuffs on Lunge, which we don't get with Low Kicks. So I could take it or leave it. That would not be at the top of my list in terms of priorities. I'm on the second half of this event. I'm certainly prioritizing Bombardier first and foremost, 1000%, as well as Excalibur, mostly for Master and Master Premier, and to perhaps maybe as an anti-meta in Ultra. Similar for this one. Those two I'm prioritizing over this one, but keep an eye out if you happen to catch a decent one. It's worth hanging on to for sure. It would probably serve as a solid anti-meta type of Pokemon. It's not going to be meta-defining whatsoever. Unless they come around and they buff Sucker Punch. That might put this thing on the map, but that remains to be seen. So that about wraps it up, my friends. That's my review of the new Paldean Pokemon. I hope I was clear enough on which ones to prioritize most. And if you have any questions, of course, you can always reach me on my Discord. It is free to join, link in the description. If you have any additional questions, of course, you can drop those in the comments as well. But guys, I had a blast. I hope you all enjoyed. As always, I thank you for watching and keep up the grind. Thank you, guys.